Guys, so we're back now to glitter our domestic violence awareness cup. I'm going to be using this really pretty purple from PDB. It's called Kismet. I am going to be doing the Mod Podge method. You can do epoxy method or whatever method you use to adhere your glitter. This is on a white base, flat white or matte white. I can't remember which one I used. So I'm just going to coat the entire cup with Mod Podge. Now you could have sprayed your cup purple. I will do 2 coats of this. I'll do the first coat on camera and the second coat off camera. And then we'll epoxy it with Facet from CC DIY. You could have spray painted this base purple. It probably would have given you better coverage, but I feel personally when you base coat the cup white, it just makes the color that you're using pop even more. That's just a personal preference. You can do it however you normally do your cups. So I'm just going to make sure that I get all the chunky pieces or the mounds of Mod Podge that I had. Because if you have any chunky pieces or a bunch of lines, you will see it when you apply your glitter. I'm going to make sure that I get the top rim and the bottom rim really good. So I'm going to start glittering the top and the bottom because for some reason that seems to be what dries the fastest. I love this purple. This is absolutely gorgeous. I put wax paper down when I'm glittering because it tends to release the glitter a lot better. I'm just going to tap the top of this with my scissors to knock off the excess. I'm going to dump this back in my cup. And then I'm going to glitter the bottom. It's pretty warm in here. It's chilly here, so I have the heat on. So this won't take long to dry at all. So there's our first coat. As you can see, it's got really good coverage, but I'm a creature of habit, so I will do a second coat. I'm gonna let this dry for about 30 minutes, and then I'll take my brush. This brush, it's just a blush brush. And I will brush off the excess, and then I'll put my second coat on there, and then we'll come back and we'll epoxy it with Facet. Hey guys, so we are back to finish working on our domestic violence awareness tumbler. Just a recap of what we've done. We started out with a stainless steel tumbler that we spray painted with white matte. We did 2 coats of Kismet, which is by PDB, which is this really, really gorgeous purple color. And now I'm mixing 20 mLs of part A and 20 mLs of part B of CC DIY Facet. This is a fast curing epoxy. It's not like your regular epoxy where you have a good bit of window work time. You have to mix this and apply it pretty quickly to your tumbler, or it will start to warm up and it'll start to cure inside the cup. With the Facet, you only really have to let it spin for about 2 hours
maybe a little bit longer depending on where you live and your humidity and stuff like that. But typically around the 2.5 hour mark, I can go ahead and take my tumbler off, do any sanding that's necessary. I can go straight to decal. So I really love using fast set. It is recommended that you use fast set on darker colored cups, so you definitely wouldn't want to use fast set if you were using like a white or cream or something like that. So I'm just gonna mix this up. I don't worry about bubbles because when I put this on my cup, I will hit it with the torch, and then I'll wait a few minutes and I'll hit it with the torch again. The first torching will pop any bubbles that are on the surface immediately. The second torching will pop any bubbles that come up to the surface as the tumbler is spinning and the epoxy is leveling out. So I really don't, you can see it's like bubbly here, so I don't worry about that. So I'm gonna turn my turner on. This is my slower turner. Normally I use a 5 to 6 RPM, but I think this one's a 2 to 3 RPM. So I'm just mixing it, making sure I scrape the sides and get the bottom. And I use this amount because I feel like it gives it a pretty good coat. And I noticed that I don't have to do a whole lot of sanding. So I'm just gonna pour. I love the CC DIY epoxy. It has the most unbelievable, unbeatable shine of any epoxy I've used. As soon as the cups are done, it's like a glass finish. It's really hard to take pictures of the finished product because you end up seeing yourself in the reflection of your cup. But it makes a beautiful finish. So I'm just making sure I get right up here at the rim. Once this is cured, I will go in and sand some of that off to expose a little bit of the stainless steel, just so when I put my next coat of epoxy on, the epoxy can create a really good seal at the top, and I don't have to worry about, you know, the glitter being in the way or the seal breaking or anything like that, because the epoxy will actually create the seal on the stainless steel. So right now I'm just epoxying the bottom, and I will use this whole cup, and we should have very minimal sanding. This is what I would consider my flood coat, meaning I'm just flooding the cup with epoxy. And if you have a really good flood coat, then that does reduce your sanding. You might still have to hit it, you know, sand it just a little bit, but it shouldn't be anything extravagant. So when I'm epoxying the bottom of my cups, what I like to do is I like to just run my finger flat against the base of the cup. Sometimes you might get a cup that's got a wobbly end where the epoxy was built up. Sometimes that can be an unlevel turner, but sometimes it could be because the epoxy gathered too much in one spot. So once I get all this on, I'm just gonna let it go all around. So now what I'll do is I'll just come up at the top and I'll swipe down. I'll come up at the top, swipe down. I'm just pulling off any excess epoxy. I don't want it dripping, but I also want to make sure that when it starts to cure, that it cures without a bunch of lines and crevices that my fingers have created. So So that looks pretty good. Now you can use your big boy torch, the big torch. Every time I hit the clicker on that thing, it scares me, so I don't use the really big torch. I use the baby torch. And I've never had a problem with using that torch. The torch that I use is this one right here. This is the one that I've used since I've started making tumblers a few years ago. So this is the one that I've always used. So I'm just going to torch it quickly. I'm not leaving the heat in any one spot because you can burn the epoxy. And because this is a slow turner, I back off a little bit and let it come around, and that's it. So that is it. So we will let this spin for about 2.5 hours, and then we'll come back, and if it needs to be sanded, we'll sand it. If not, we'll go straight into decaling it. Hey guys, so we're back. Our tumbler has cured with our coat of Fast Set. Because this is going to be a peekaboo, I want a really, really smooth surface before I lay my decals down and spray paint it. So what we're going to do in this part of the video is I'm going to show you how I sand and prepare. So what I'll do is I'll sand my cup, and then I'll put another thin coat of epoxy on. Then we'll decal it, spray paint it, and finish it off. So I just wanted to show you really quick, this is what it looks like with one coat of epoxy. I did use Fast Set, but like I said, there's some rough edges around the bottom and the top, so I really want to go ahead and sand that down and put another coat before I apply my decals. So in my bottle, I just have Dawn dish soap and some water. I'm just going to spray the tumbler, and then I'm going to take my 60 grit sanding block, and I'm just going to sand. Now don't worry if you see your cup, if you're new like with me, the first time I did this I thought I ruined the tumbler. This is completely normal. As soon as you put your next coat of epoxy on, it'll shine right back up. We're just going to make sure we sand it really, really good. This is a good arm workout too. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the bottom. I like to go with the curvature of the tumbler. And then I'll just feel around and make sure that I didn't miss any spots. If I did, I'll go back over them. And then we'll focus on the top. So when I'm sanding my top, I like to expose a little bit of the stainless steel. So I go at an angle. I don't want to remove too much, just enough for my epoxy to adhere. You could also use your Dremel for this, but I cleaned my craft area and I don't remember where I put mine. So as you can see, there's just a tiny, tiny lip around the top. So I'm just gonna finish sanding this and I will spray it down. So I think that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna grab me some coffee filters because they don't have any lint on them. I'm just gonna spray it. This is how I do every single one of my cups. I'm gonna wipe it down. And as you can see, even wiping it with the water shines it right back up. But as it dries, it'll have that foggy look. But once you put your next coat of epoxy on, it'll shine back up. Okay, so I am going to put another coat of epoxy on this, and then when I come back, we'll start placing our decals. Hey guys, so we're back for the decaling part of our tumbler. So to go over really quick, what we did is we started with a prep tumbler that was spray painted white. We did 2 coats of Kismet by PDB. Everything that I use will be linked in the description below. We also did a coat of Fast Set, and then we sanded our cup so it was really nice and smooth. And then we did another coat of epoxy, another coat of Fast Set. And that's just because this is gonna be a Peekaboo, so we're actually gonna be spray painting this tumbler with Ultra Matte Black. It's from Rust-Oleum. It's 2 times. It's paint and primer. I love this spray paint. So when you're doing a Peekaboo, you want to make sure that your cup is as smooth as possible, because if not, your spray paint is going to show every little bump, every little stray piece of glitter. So you just want to make sure that your cup is sanded really good. You put another coat of epoxy on. That way your cup is really, really smooth. So this is a domestic violence awareness cup that I'm making, and we are going to do butterflies for the Peekaboo, and then this is the decal that I'm going to be using that's going to be front and center, and then we're going to outline it with some black vinyl. I think black, I'm not sure yet, I haven't made my mind up. So what I'm going to do is I have some different size butterflies here. I just found these off of Google, and I am going to place them randomly on the cup. I'm keeping in mind that I want my sunflower to go in the middle. So I'm just going to place the butterflies sporadically around the cup. So I know that I want a big butterfly. in the front. So I'm gonna lay this down here. Actually, I'm gonna turn the cup this way. I know this is upside down, but. So I'm gonna place this butterfly here. I really love this transfer tape. It's called Transfer Right Ultra. It's a medium tack from US Cutter. I absolutely love this transfer tape. And it's clear and it has the lines and you can see through it. So you can see what you're doing if you need to layer. It's just a really good transfer tape. So there's my first butterfly. So I'm actually going to flip this over and I'm going to keep in mind, actually I'm going to use my lid because I want even spacing. This is a little tip that I share with everybody that I teach in my group, Tumbler Mayhem. So your lid, excuse me, is the perfect alignment tool when you're doing double-sided decals. So if you have a decal on this side and a decal on this side, your lid is the perfect measuring tool because the little piece back here and the mouthpiece is a straight line. So if I line this tab up with my butterfly like this, so this tab is lined up with my butterfly. So you see the tab here. Then when I flip the cup over and I place my decal where the mouthpiece is, then it'll be even on both sides. So I'm not putting the decal down yet, the sunflower decal. I'm just gonna keep in mind that I'm putting it right here. So I wanna put a little butterfly up at the top. And there's no rhyme or reason of where I'm placing these. This is just different spots on the tumbler. And then I think I wanna get one that's going in the opposite direction. Put this guy down here. Then I'm going to flip it over and I'm just going to take a look, and I think I'm going to do so my sunflower is going to go there. I think I'm just going to put one here. And I won't use all of these because I don't want it to be too much. And then I'm going to look over here. And I think I'm going to put one right here. Right up here. Turn him a little, and we'll go up. And I see I missed a part in his wing. Let me go through and make sure I have all of the pieces weeded out. Oh, there's another one. So I think we're good. So now the next step will be, and I'll do it off camera, the next step will be to spray paint this black. I have a really hard time finding a black glitter that works for me, that stays sparkly under epoxy, and it doesn't look like tar. So I'm actually going to show you a little hack that will make it look like black glitter, but it's not really black glitter. So right now I'm just going to grab my halo and a PVC arm, because if you look on the inside of my cup, it's clean. There's no spray paint, there's nothing, and that's because I used the halo. So I definitely don't want to have to clean black spray paint out of my cup. So I'm just going to slide this halo on my PVC pipe, which is 3/4 inch. Okay. And I'm just going to stick this down in the cup like that. And it creates a seal. So now I will take it outside. I'll spray paint the whole cup black, and because I have this halo on, none of the black spray paint will get on the inside of my cup. So I'm gonna spray paint this and then I'll be back. Hey guys, so we're back to remove our decals off of our cup and to start the what I call the black glitter cheat method. So I'm gonna take this off. As you can see, the halo kept any spray paint from getting on the inside of my cup. So I'm just gonna take the halo off. I'm gonna put this back on here. I am going to put this on my turner. And then we're going to remove the decals that we put on to reveal the purple glitter underneath. So take your time with this portion of it so you don't nick any of your spray paint. So the little antennas are really kind of tiny. There's one. How pretty is that? Now we're going to remove the big butterfly. Again, take your time with this part so you don't nick any of your spray paint. I am wearing a glove so I don't transfer my fingerprints to the spray paint. Our second butterfly. We have one down here and one up here. And if you remember when I told you to make sure that before you do your peekaboo, to make sure that your cup is really smooth, because if not, it will show every little bump, every little piece of stray glitter. So I always put another coat of epoxy on after I sand, because as you can see, the cup is really smooth. Some of the imperfections you can hide if you put an additive into your epoxy. But you definitely want your cup to be as smooth as it can be. This is like the most satisfying part of the whole thing, like removing the vinyl and having that glitter peek through. There's that one. And now we will remove this guy. There we go. How pretty is that?
And this purple's really gonna shine up when we put our next coat of epoxy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix probably about 20 mLs total. So 10 mLs of A, and I am using Fast Set from CCDIY because it is a dark colored cup. So I'm using 10 mLs of A and 10 mLs of B. So I'm just measuring out my epoxy and transferring it into another cup. This is where the magic happens. So there I have both parts mixed in my cup. Now what I'm gonna do is, this is Angel Kisses by Carolina Sparkle Bar. So it's a really ultra fine glitter. And I'm just gonna take a little bit and dump it into my cup. What this is gonna do, you'll see when I turn the turner on and start applying it, it's gonna give the appearance that this is black glitter, but it's not. As you can see, this is just black spray paint, but it's gonna look like glitter when we're done. Plus, it's gonna give the purple glitter just a little extra dazzle. So I'm just mixing. I'm not worrying about any bubbles because I'm going to torch it. So you want to mix it until it's all combined. Both parts are combined. And you really want to mix that additive in there really good. So now we're going to turn our turner on. And this is the slower turner. I'm going to use this turner so you can get a really good look at that sparkle. I'm just going to double check before I start putting epoxy that I have gotten all of the vinyl removed, because nothing sucks worse than putting your epoxy on and realizing that you missed a spot. So I'm just double checking, and now we'll start to apply our epoxy. Look at there. It looks like glitter. You could do this without doing a peekaboo. Let's say you had an order for a black glittered cup and you want to make sure that your glitter sparkles. You can always spray paint your cup black and then do a thin coat of epoxy with an additive mixed in. And again, this is Angel Kisses from Carolina Sparkle Bar. And as always, I will put what I use in the description below so you guys can go check them out. Look at that sparkle. We just transformed this entire cup. So because we're using Fast Set, this will be dry in about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then we can move on to the next step, which will be to apply our purple sunflower decal
and the offset that goes around it. I just want to make sure that I have this coated really good. And then I just go down and swipe just to get rid of any build-up layers or build-up areas of epoxy. And that is it. So we'll let that spin until it's dry. What I will do is I will go ahead and hit it really quick with the torch. I just do a couple of quick passes to pop any surface bubbles that are there. Look at that shine. That's why I absolutely love CC DIY, because of the shine. It's like glass. So that is it for this step. So we'll let this spin and then we'll come back and we will finish adding our decals. Hey guys, so we're back to finish our domestic violence awareness tumbler. So here I have cut an offset to go on top of my purple awareness sunflower. These images, the image and the offset, are both available on our website, midlandsvinyl.com. You can find the awareness decal under decal shop and awareness. It comes in white and clear. This is white that I'm using because I'm using a dark color cup. The offset that matches can be found under digital shop under SVG. So I'm gonna put my flower on first. So I'm just gonna pull my transfer tape off. I'm gonna slide this out of the way. And I'm also going to go ahead and put my offset. So I'm going to put my flower right here in the center. So we're just going to peel back the transfer tape. And as you can see, the flower has been cut around. I should have pulled the white off first, but it's okay. So when I cut these decals, I cut around it. You will see a little bit of the white, simply because I didn't want to cut too deep into the design. So I'm just going to place my cup on my hammock. So the hammocks are on midlandsvinyl.com as well. They come in handy. I'm going to place this in the center and I'm going to smooth it out from the middle, working my way out to the edges. This helps decrease bubbles and wrinkles, so you get a nice smooth decal. So there's our decal. Now, in order to line up my offset, I'm going to use a piece of parchment paper. I do this whenever I am layering decals, just so I can place it correctly. I'm trying to find the one I've already cut. But we'll use this. So I'm just going to cut a little piece off. That's about the size of my decal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this decal, because right here it looks like, it reminds me of like a little lobster claw. I don't know if you can see it right there. So I'm going to look on my offset
There's my little lobster claw right there to the side. So I'm gonna pull this off. And I'm gonna place it on the wax paper, or the parchment paper, I'm sorry. And I'm gonna leave a little bit of an overhang so I can use the hinge method. So all I'm gonna do is line this up with my decal. I'm going to look around before I peel it off and make sure that it's lined up all the way around. I think I need to go over a little bit. Take your time on this part because you want to make sure that your decal is lined up with the offset. This is definitely not something you want to rush through, because if you do, then you will be able to see the white outline. Alright, so I think that's good. So I'm just going to smooth the transfer tape out on this side. I'm going to peel this up and pull the transfer paper out, or the parchment paper, I'm sorry. And I'm just going to lay it on top of the flower. Peel this back. And there you go. So now I'm going to take this to the turner and we're going to get ready for the final coat of epoxy. Hey guys, so we are back to finish up our domestic violence awareness tumbler. So now we're just going to put a coat of epoxy. I am going to mix 20 mLs total, so 10 of A and 10 of B, which I'm doing that off camera. You can't see me, but this should be our final coat. We may need one more coat after this, but if it's smooth, you're good to go. So I'm just mixing part A. I measure it out in a measuring cup, and then I transfer it to another cup. So as you can see here, I have part A and part B in a cup, and I'm just going to mix these two together really well, making sure that I'm scraping the bottom and the sides. I am using Fast Set from CCDIY. Again, everything that I used will be linked in the description below, so you will be able to put your own spin on this cup. So I don't really time it while I'm mixing. I just mix until I know that it's clear and that both parts are, you know, mixed equally together. I don't baby it because any bubbles that appear, I can pop with a torch. There you go. So I'm just going to start applying it. I love that purple vinyl. I got that vinyl off of Amazon. It's like a purple to pink color shift. I think it's by Vivid. I'll double check and put it in the description below. So I've done 3 different versions of this cup. So I did the this domestic violence awareness cup. I've also done the breast cancer, which is beside this cup. And I've also done the mental health awareness tumbler, which is in green. I will show you when I get this epoxy on here. And because I'm using fast set, this will be dry in about 2 hours. So if I need another coat, I can go right ahead and put that on. And that is it. I will hit this with the torch to pop any bubbles. Just quick. I don't sit in one spot for too long because I don't want to burn the epoxy. And then I walk away. So this is the breast cancer cup we did. So there is the pink, and then here is the green. So this is for mental health. It says your story isn't over. So again, I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. We learned, or I showed you how to do the peekaboo. I showed you how to get the appearance of black glitter, even though we didn't use black glitter. And applying the offset with parchment paper so you can line everything up, do the hinge method, and that way you can make sure that everything is lined up before you actually apply your offset, so you don't have to tear it off and start all over. So I hope this was helpful. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new content that we put out. We're trying to get better about putting out new content. We've just been super, super busy. So if you found this video helpful or you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, then I guess give us a thumbs down. But we appreciate your support, and we hope that this was helpful. So until next time, I'll see you later.